But what, you know what happens if sex isn't that important to you? You're not in it for sex. You want to find the love of your life, your soulmate, and get married. Who believes in that? Soulmates, true love. Come on. Yeah, good. That's cool. I applaud that. You know, I'm still, even after all this, I have that romantic side of me. But let's look at Asian American marriage. In 2006, the percent of Asian men who were never married, 25-29, 72.5%, never married. 30-34, 37.3%, never married. You can also compare it to the Asian women of marriage statistics. White male, what are they, 25-29%, only like half are never married. That's a quarter difference. All right, that's a quarter difference between the 50% of white males versus the 75% of Asian males. Right? Here's the bottom line. 1 out of 5 of you will never marry. I want you to look around. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. 1 out of 5 of you will never marry. Again, I'm not making this up, guys. Look it up. If you notice, I'm citing all the numbers, all the references if you want to look it up. That's 1.5 million Asian American men. Think about it. That's 1.5 Asian American men. I am never going to be out of a job, guys. Ever. All right? So, here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing. And, I've obviously noticed this more and more. I'll talk to I'll go to these Asian American radio shows. And I'll go on this radio show and I'll talk to the announcer. And she'll talk about her Asian friends that are to pickup. She knows all this pickup terminology even before she invited me on. Or I'll go to Harvard or Yale. And there's little Asian pickup clubs. Here's the thing. It's already pickup is already in Asian American culture. All right? It inhabits, forums, blogs, magazines, YouTube videos. And it's going to become a permanent fixture. What's the name of the guy, the founder of Zappos? Tony Hsieh, yeah. He's into pickup. He studies pickup. All right? It is, most of you, it's 6 degrees of separation. All right? Somebody knows somebody who is into pickup. All right? That's how that's how invasive it's becoming as part of Asian American male culture, because there are so few solutions to the situation that exists for us. So I don't know if there's a professional bamboozling, but there's most definitely a dating bamboozling. There's definitely something that's creating this massive gender imbalance. So there's a lot of different variables, factors that go into this. From the racialized, media stereotypes, right? Lack of role models, race bending. You guys know what race bending is? It's Avatar. It basically came from that. There's a website and all that. No, she's right. It's when the white, Caucasian, whatever you want to call it, production company decides to replace what is essentially an Asian actor with a white person. You see this, what is it, Akira? Dragon Ball Z, right? It was planned for Akira before it got canned. I'm sure Robotech, it'll be what is it, Tobey Maguire that owns that? 21. Remember? Those were all supposed to be Asian poker players that end up getting replaced. All right, he knows his Asian American media. Internalized racism is the entire concept of that angry or that bitter Asian man. When I was in college, it was before memes were memes, but the bitter Asian man meme was around when I was in college. And, we talked about it in all the Asian American forums and all that kind of stuff. All right. It's basically becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, oh man, if the media is always against us, if Asian American women are always out marrying, all this kind of stuff, then it's a hopeless cause, right? Internalized racism becomes self-defeating. There's more conservative sex standards, the idea of you never start dating, right? Between 18 to 16, you never date because your parents won't allow you. And then once you get outside of college into a career, then you're allowed to date. But you've never touched a woman's breast ever in your entire life, right? So, other things, the immigrant parenting style. What about that? The immigrant parenting style, right? Tiger moms and eagle dads. It ensures maximum survivability at the expense of any kind of ancillary pursuits like art, entertainment, sports. I had one client. He was from Texas, and he was going to whatever private college, and he had basically, unbeknownst to him, grown to hate his parents because they forced him to become a doctor when in reality he wanted to be a musician. Literally, talking to them, you could tell he hated them, but he could not go against his parents. I don't understand how many of my clients come in and there's all these issues when it comes to the stresses that their parents forced them under. The outmarriage rate of American-born Asian females. According to the Washington Post, 45% of American-born Asians will not marry you. Yeah, looking around, she's American-born Asian, half of them will not marry you. This is not a condemnation. This is a simple description of reality. Right? And basically the lack of positive male role models for Asian. And I would ask my students, what's a positive Asian male role model? 99% of them would say something like Bruce Lee, which is great, right? But the man's been dead for 30 years. That's how sad and sadly lacking we are when it comes to role models. But who knew? Who knew of Jeremy Lin a week ago? Did any of you guys even know this person existed? Oh, come on. It's like what is this? The people in indie bands, I knew the band before everybody else did. All right, now all of a sudden, he's starting point guard, and boom, his star is rising. And obviously his biggest fan base are Asians. All Asians. First is the Taiwanese. He's Taiwan. He's my brother, right? Yeah. See? But then, you know what? The Chinese started claiming him. No, he's Chinese too. Then the Vits started claiming him, right? And the Koreans. It's because he's Asian American. He wasn't simply Taiwanese. He's Asian. It's one of the few positive male role models out there. And that's why his fan base, fueled by Asian Americans, grew so fast. I don't know if it's sustainable. I hope it is. We need all, God knows we need all the positive role models that we can get, right? But it's because we basically attached ourselves to the first rising star because there's none out there. But here's the biggest obstacle that every Asian man here will be forced to face this decade. Every single one of you. Every single one of you, guys, 100%. By 2020, 24 million Chinese women will have never existed. They have been aborted due to ultrasound, China's one-child policy. There are lacking 24 million women, potential wives, spouses, lovers, girlfriends. They're missing. I want you to understand there aren't even 24 million Asian Americans. All right? And the reason I bring this up, this is 160 million if you include all of Asia. India, what they're doing, Vietnam, Korea. Don't get me all up on Japan, jeez. But there's a good book called Unnatural Selection, Choosing Boys Over Girls, and the consequences of a world full of men. All right? This, other than the tragedy, and tragedy of the situation, this has ramifications for everybody. All right? At no point in history has there been this kind of gender imbalance. All right? And it's just not an Asian problem. Those problems are going to come over here. They're going to go over to Europe. All right? 24 million Chinese men. That's Chinese men. Not even talking about Vietnamese men or Indian men. All right? They can't get girlfriends. They can't get brides because there's literally no Asian women left. All right? They've done it to themselves. What do you think in a society like that? What happens? Crime rises, right? Instability, suicide. Someone raise their hand over there? Child trafficking, right? Prostitution. All those things happen. So, from this point on in history, dating, marriage, and sex for Asian men will be more difficult every year for you from now on. It literally will be. I mean, you guys can giggle about this, but this is unprecedented. And the fact that the gender imbalance will not be restored until 2050. All right? Like, I know a lot of students are planning to, go back to China. Simply, you study here and go back over there. All right? There's a lot of things that are happening. So at this point, I've completely bummed you guys out, right? Very kind of like heavy stuff. All right? So let's get to a little more fun stuff. Right? I know. See, this is a little bit different, isn't it? Right? We talked about like kind of higher level stuff, interesting stuff, as opposed to like how you can get a girlfriend. Although I'm sure some of you want to know that. Basically, what I want for you guys is to start dating more without putting artificial restraints on you. You'd be surprised by how many of my Asian students would be like, "Oh, I don't want to date white girls because white girls don't like Asian men. Oh, I don't want to date black girls because black girls don't like Asian men." Or whatever excuse that they come up with. Right? It's just an excuse. Do you think Asian women really put themselves in that constraint? Like maybe they want to marry an Asian guy, but in reality, let's say she's a pretty Asian girl. She goes to the club or the bar. To your local bar. She's gonna get hit up by white guys, black guys, Latin guys. Her dating options are always open, as opposed to the Asian guy that says, "Oh no, I'm gonna stick inside my race. I'm gonna stick inside my culture." An Asian girl doesn't lack for options, especially if she's pretty. So college is basically the easiest time. It's easiest time, guys. I shit you not. When it comes to getting laid, getting a girlfriend, or getting married. It's basically all downhill. All right? It's all tougher. Trust me. You actually got to put in work after this when it comes to meeting somebody.